We're one race in to the championship chase for the 2025 Wawa Cup Series, and our second race is going to take place on the longest circuit we have on the schedule. Here we are at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, Road America, an over 4 mile long road course which will very much play a huge part into who wins the championship. Last year this race was won by Ludovic Charette, and those two road course wins she got last year ended up going towards that championship win that she had in Darlington at the end of the season. What will happen here today, and how will today's race affect the title? We're still very early on in the chase. A lot of our chase drivers start midway through the field, meaning this is going to be a very interesting points battle once we're all said and done here today. It's the Culver's 400K here from Road America. 16 laps of action around one of the best road courses here in North America. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one here for the 24th race of the season in the 2025 Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to Road America here, the 24th race of the season in the Wawa Cup Series, and the second race in the Wawa Cup Series chase. And we had a pretty big surprise in qualifying on Thursday. Zayden Davidson, uncharted driver for Team Williams, winning the pole. A little bit of help there from his teammate of Duncan Ward, maybe. They locked the front row. The home team here, Team Williams, based here in Wisconsin. Andrew Williams, the owner of this team. We'll have to see how well they can hold off the rest of this field in this 16-lap event. We're joined alongside Matt Tuck and Echo Evans-Ross for the call of today's race. And both of you drivers, both of you owners, I should say, have drivers who are in this championship battle. Matt, I'll start off with you. Daniel Paulus Jr., our points leader, starts midway through the field in that 54 machine. This is a difficult place to make a pass. What is your suggestion to Paulus in this race to find himself in a better position to hold on to the points lead going into our next race?
Well, if you can survive the bleep show that can turn into the rundown into turn 4 on the opening lap, you usually can, you can make a lot of passes up here. If I recall last year, this race, I think I started outside the top 30, and I ended up top 15, I believe, by the end of the race. So if you work the strategy, it's definitely not impossible. But surviving that rundown into turn 4, that is the most dangerous part of the track, to get caught up into an accident. On that initial lap, that first end of the first sector into sector 2. If you get through that, just play your strategy and you can work your way back up into the mid-pack. So that's going to be the key for today for these chase drivers.
And Echo, you have a driver starting top 5 here today at Road America, and your other driver, Jack Haas, is starting just outside the top 10 as well. Neither of them had a good run at Chicagoland, but still very early on in this chase, and we saw how important these road courses were last year. What's your suggestion to Kirsten Bell and Jack Haas in this one, hold on to their positions and have a shot at the race victory here today at Road America?
Well, this is a very hard track to drive, very technical. One of my favorite tracks to watch, but what I think they got to do, just hold position, make sure you get the strategy right, and the most important thing is don't get yourself into any trouble that you don't need to. This is still a long race. This is a very hard race. There's a lot of opportunities to mess up. Just keep calm. If you have to give up a position, maybe you might want to do it, but basically what I would say here is just keep everything stable. Don't overdo it right now. It's still early on in the chase, and you can make up ground just as long as you keep things where they are.
And we'll have to see how that ends up shaking out. We have seen a lot of things go on this racetrack. And Matt, you probably remember this one from way back in the day when Tyler Selzman won this race because Griffin Lynn, who was the dominant driver, went off in the carousel on the last lap of the event. In the truck race back in November, both of the Williams brothers went off in the carousel at the same time. They were both up there in the top 10. We'll see if that ends up being the case here today with any of these drivers. But it is a 16-lap event here from Road America, and it is a 2-stop race. Let's go ahead and get these drivers to roll off here, and then we'll show you guys the point standings coming into the second race of the chase. And you see the points right there on your screen. Daniel Paulus Jr. coming into this race, the points leader, but you see that he starts deep in the field, all the way back there, I believe, in the 24th position in that 54 machine. He's got a top 10 or a top 5 streak of 10 straight races going on right now. We'll see if he can keep that going here today. It's going to be quite a bit of an effort for Paulus if that ends up being the case. But he's still the points leader by 2 points ahead of Ludovic Charette, and they're both back in there midway through the field to start this race. Duncan Ward, on the other hand, on the front row, and he is only 8 points behind. And he's got a very good opportunity at taking the points lead at the end of this race in that 23-14 Williams. Travis Crampton a little bit further ahead than Paulus and Charette, but still midway through the field for the driver of the number 98. He is 13 points behind. Isaac Nichols, who is the lowest of the chase drivers starting here today, is 16 points behind. And Logan Williams, home race for him, and of course the last time he was here in the Truck Series, that did not go well for him or his brother Andrew. We're trying to make better of that. He is 17 points behind after finishing runner-up last week at Chicagoland Speedway. Great run for him in that race. And if he can keep that speed up, he might have a shot at this title. We'll have to see if that ends up being the case. And yeah, Laura Chung, who's starting in the top 5, 26 points behind. Kirsten Bell, 27 behind. And Jack Haas, 28 behind. All three of those drivers start top 11. Andrew Miller, Avery Alford, Nathan Smith all kind of struggled at Chicagoland, especially Nathan Smith, who blew an engine. They are 35, 39, and 52 points behind, respectively. Zayden Davidson won the pole and helped there with Duncan Ward on their laps, and they got the front row for this race. The home race for Team Williams here today. They're going to have a great opportunity at it as this race goes along. Run number 2, another uncharted driver, Darian Arnsdorf, the uncharted driver for Grattan Autosport, alongside Kirsten Bell in 93. Bell looking for her second win of the season in that 93 machine. Laura Chung trying to do the same, and she's alongside Brian Webb there. Those were the 6 drivers that made the Fast 6. Laura Chung trying to move her way back up in the point standings after another midweight run at Chicagoland. You got Zachary Fitzwater qualifying top 10. Great to see that out of the now 31-time winner on the channel. Alongside Eric Monaco, our Daytona 500 champion, who's had a lot of great runs as of late. Actually had a top 10 run going for him at Chicagoland before he had an issue late in the race that took him out of that. Alex Amatali and Philip Torres round out the top 10. Great qualifying efforts for those drivers. And Nicholas Samadeo and Jack Haas right there. Our last winner, Blaine Keys, starting in the top 15. Andrew Miller on the first half of the chase driver starting in this race. Travis Crampton around the 20th position. And then got Nathan Smith, Paulus Jr., Logan Williams, Ladovic Brett all midway through the field, and Isaac Nichols there with Avery Alford taking up the rear of the chase drivers all midway through the field right there. And we know how that mid-pack can be here at Road America. It can be a hornet's nest on the first lap. We'll have to see if they can get out of it and end up with a good run in this race as we move along for the 16 laps here at Road America. Well, Matt and Echo, who do you guys think is going to victory lane here today in this Culver's 400K?
Well, I think it's going to be an uncharted car here today, but it's not going to be the pole sitter. It's going to be Darian Arnsdorf in the 11. To his credit, he had really good pace at Montreal, had a very fast car, and I think that today's the opportunity for him to get his first win here of the season.
Matt took my pick, so I'm going to take the 23, Duncan Ward. Duncan's been really fast. He's looked super strong, and I think that he's got exactly what it takes. He's been great this season, and I think he's going to maybe vault up into the points lead with a win here in this one, because qualifying up front here is going to be very important here towards the end.
We'll have to see if Duncan Ward can in fact have a great run on the road course. Did not have a good run in Montreal when we were there a few weeks ago, but a great effort in qualifying. And these Team Williams machines, especially this 23 and 00, have really come out to play here today in their home race. Well, it's going to be 16 laps, but it's going to go by really quick. 2 cycles of pit stops, and of course the longest course on the circuit's always fun when we come to Road America, and we've been coming here since the beginning for over a decade now on the channel, and we're back once again with the Cup cars. It's Zayden Davidson and Duncan Ward on the front row, and the second race of the 2025 Wawa Cup Series chase is underway here in the Culver's 400 at Road America. And already at the start of the race, Duncan Ward giving way to Zayden Davidson in the 00, and Davidson, the uncharted driver, taking the race lead right there. Kirsten Bell tried to make a move 3 wide. She's still 3 wide with Brian Webb and Darian Arnsdorf, and they're holding all of them up right now as both the Team Williams cars pull away out front. But Kirsten Bell looking to gift this position on Webb and Arnsdorf, and they're still 3 wide. As we head in the turn number 5, this is going to be very tight right here with these drivers. And we always talk about it's a hornet's nest back in the field. Well, it's a hornet's nest for 3rd place right now. These guys going 3 wide still for position.
Yeah, Arnsdorf had to kind of back out of it there. Brian Webb had an unbelievable start in that 43, made up a position, I believe, Arnsdorf's car not hooking up here early. San Mateo's trying to take a jump on it. I can see the 54 Apollos has already moved up a few spots. But there's a lot of guys up here you don't normally expect to be in this position, so it's going to be interesting to see how they race, and you got to be careful. There's no runoff on this track outside of turn 4, so Brian Webb almost found out the hard way. You got to be careful here of that grass today. It will bite you.
Of course, we're going to see a lot of these guys push it to the limit around this course, and the kink right there. It's also another trouble spot. There's a lot of turns on this course where the outside lane has the advantage, and the kink is absolutely one of those turns, and Arnsdorf is actually going to lose quite a bit of ground right there, and they're going to go 3 wide again as Fitzwater makes a move on Arnsdorf and Torres. We've seen a lot of 3 wide here on this first lap, not missing anything up front. Zayden Davidson's pulled away in the 0-0. Couple guys off in the back. I saw Troxel off course a little bit, and then Brad Stover as well. But all 42 drivers still on the racetrack as Duncan Ward all over the back bumper of his teammate now for this race lead, and Zayden Davidson is going to lead lap number 1 from the pole.
And Darian really struggled to get his car hooked up. He dropped a lot of spots here at the start. I'm not sure if maybe that car just doesn't have the greatest race setup, or maybe he's just kind of lagging back by strategy here at the start of this race. But Darian really struggled to get things hooked up there. I thought Kirsten Bell's move for what would have been for second, but she ended up settling for third. Still an impressive move, though, by the 93. I mean, she needs to get those points, and she's been very good at getting those points, so I think she's got a decent shot here. It was pretty fast in Montreal, too, so.
And, she's been kind of sneakily quiet this whole season. 13 top 10s, only 1 less than Paulus, Charette, and Crampton, who are all tied for the lead at 14, so 4th overall this season, and of course got the win in North Wilkesboro and actually beat her teammate of Jack Haas in that race to get the race victory, and I think she's got a very good opportunity in winning this race here today. The way this first lap kind of settled down right here, you got to give a lot of credit to Zachary Fitzwater here in this 99 machine. He has just been non-existent, I mean, respectfully, throughout the entirety of the Wawa Cup Series, unfortunately. We kind of hate it because he's tied for the all-time wins list with Nicholas Sambadio at 31 right now. If he were to win this race here today, assuming that Sambadio didn't win Iowa yesterday in the IndyCar Series, or Fitzwater may have already broken it yesterday. I don't know who won that yet. Caleb and I kind of do our own things, but Fitzwater's still one of the best drivers on the channel and the channel's history. And he's raced here at Road America many times before, and a great effort for him, a great effort for Philip Torres as well in the 52 machine. One of the best runs I've seen out of Philip. He's actually going to go for it on Fitzwater. Laura Chung fell back to 8th right there. And then Jack Haas is the next chase driver all the way down in 15th. A lot of the chasers did not get a good start to that one. Travis Crampton there in 20th. And now you got Paulus moving his way through the field there in 22nd right now. Andrew Miller did not get a good start to that race, and Ladovic Streck kind of in the middle of all this with Alfred and Isaac Nichols. Logan Williams back here. They have not moved up at all, but Miller has slipped back. And that's it. Everybody else back behind here, none of them are. Ooh, Nathan Smith again. Nathan Smith, I think, went off at some point, and he's all the way in the back of the field. Once again, another bad run for Nathan Smith here in the Wawa Cup Series after blowing an engine at Chicagoland last week. He was already 52 points behind. He's going to be further back after this one.
That's not a good start here to the chase for Nathan Smith, and he's going to need some sort of a hero's run to want to have a shot at this championship. And I mean, the 54, my guy Paulus, I mean, at least he's out of the Hornet's nest, so he's not in that cluster of Charette. Oh, this guy in the Trackhouse car, hope he doesn't take us out. He's not in that cluster of chase cars racing behind him. So that's a good. So is Travis Crampton. I mean, there are like 4 or 5 chase guys queued up behind Paulus, and Crampton and Paulus are starting to run away from it a little bit. Charette is getting jumped here in the mid-pack. Justin Zeidel. There's some irony there.
Justin won this race in that 51 2 years ago.
He did something else in that 51 almost 2 years ago also.
We're not there yet. That's a couple weeks from now.
I digress. But, and there's a lot going on here, and there is still a lot that can happen because this is a fairly high tire deck racetrack, so pit stops will definitely be quite impactful in the outcome of today's race.
Philip got off track at some point because he lost a ton of ground right there. He's outside the top 10 now, battling with Fitzwater. Now Laura Chung all over the back bumper of Fitzwater. And even though we're only 3 laps into this race, as we got a battle for the race lead, Duncan Ward trying to get to the inside, and Turn 14, we'll see if that ends up working out for him. Hard to get
might
that
drag the
inside lane
93
to
in.
work, but he might get this lap led. We'll see. Great battle coming to the line, and Duncan Ward will get that bonus point towards the championship for leading lap number 3.
That's might drag the 93 in as well, because she's, right back there, and she actually made it. She's out down underneath a second from these two, so she might close in here and try and make a move of her own here very soon. But great battle between Ward and Davidson right now.
Duncan's going to take it. Good run there for
He's
Duncan
got it.
Ward. And if you're Andrew Williams, I think you really, I'm sure Andrew is rooting for Zayden quite a bit to have a good run, but there's a bigger picture here, and Duncan Ward being a part of that Wawa Cup Series chase and in a position to take the points lead going into our next race and actually having a decent amount of points on Paulus and Charette. Now, we know that Paulus and Charette are going to rebound when we get back to the speedways, and we honestly thought that Ladovic was going to have a great race, but not a good qualifying effort for her. She's down in 27th, and she's not even having a good race in respect to her fellow chase drivers because Logan Williams, Isaac Nichols both have gotten around her. Avery Alford's driven well past the 51 at this point, and Paulus has also made some moves. So Paulus in a battle there with Bryce Egan. But every point's going to matter, especially if all those guys fall to the back. Duncan Ward and Kirsten Bell really the only two chase drivers getting decent points out of this one. Laura Chung lost position there to Alex Amitali. Seems like these guys get up to the bumper of some of these drivers trying to make a move, and then they end up losing positions in that attempt to make a move. Some of these corners, a very tricky racetrack. Okay, how about Eric Monaco again? Top 5 for Monaco once again here in the Wawa Cup Series, and a great run there for Racing Motorsports. They got 2 of their drivers in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know how Monaco keeps doing that. I really don't know how Brian Webb's up here. That's what I'm. Disrespect, Brian Webb, if you're watching. Great qualifying effort, which he has proven. He's very good at. But tip of the cap to Monaco because he's going to get himself. Monaco's going to land himself in a car. I feel like next year, that he could go race for a championship in because this is impressive stuff that he's been doing the past couple weeks. 4-second position though. Kirsten Bell gonna jump Zayden Davidson. Almost had him down into turn 1. Turn 2, the better opportunity. Ducks in for the moment.
Didn't quite get the corner right there that she needed. Now, one thing I will say about, we got a lot going on back here, is Arnsdorf still struggling in the 11 machine. Going to lose another position there to Trey Bartow. Bartow's going to take the 10th spot away. Nicholas Samideo having a solid run. In regards to both of these drivers for Racing Motorsports, 2 years ago when Justin Seidel won this race, Brian Webb was the runner-up. And Eric Monaco won the truck race here last year, when Monaco didn't really have a good run overall in the rest of the season. So, there are certain drivers that show up here at Road America that really don't show up anywhere else. But Duncan Ward has shown up quite a few times this season, 3 times a winner here in 2025, looking for win number 4 here today. And his teammate holding up Kirsten Bell right now, and everything's looking good for Duncan Ward at the moment, but still 2 pit stops in this race that they're going to need. And that first one's going to be coming up here in just a couple of laps.
Going a lot like Montreal right now, where you got a really fast driver who's competed for the championship all year, leading the race. Got his uncharted teammate in second, just holding the 93 back as she tries to find any way she can to get around, but just hasn't been able to do it yet. It's only 5 laps in, but I don't know, it's starting to feel a little deja vu. Just maybe with a different team here instead.
Team Williams, they have come up and they've shown up here. And even Avery Alfred's done an excellent job moving his way through the field in respect to everyone else. He's actually to the back bumper of Paulus now for 20th. And once we get through the cycle of pit stops, these guys could actually jump some of the other guys ahead of them in the running order, so they could find themselves close to a top 10 once this race is all said and done. Blaine Keys to the inside of Kochmer right there. Nobody coming down the pit lane quite yet. Alford going to come down the pit lane. So first one to go with some strategy right there. And you got some other guys actually further up in the field that are coming down there. Both the Racing Motorsports cars, Brian Webb and Eric Monaco and Nicholas Samideo as well. So we'll see. We'll see what strategy ends up working, which lap you want to come down. But Duncan Ward now with a 2.2 second lead on Zayden Davidson right now. This 23 looks lightning quick here at Road America. Kirsten Bell, though, I know she's got the pace to be able to keep with that 23. She's got to get around Zayden Davidson. Maybe pull something on the pit lane and strategy to have a shot at this race victory.
Well, I think the best move for the 93 right now is if these two Dodges in front of her don't come down pit road. I mean, you make the hard right coming off a turn or coming up the hill, and you go down pit road because you're only 2.5 seconds behind the 23 car. That's perfect undercut territory. Get a good outlap, as long as you don't merge back into traffic, and then you could be the leader or right up the back bumper of the 23 when he comes out of pit road. So this is not over for the 93. It's not over for, I mean, all these chasers who are, almost was over. It's not over for these chasers in the back here. I mean, there are a lot of slow cars in front of them, and there is a lot of opportunity about to be had on these pit stops.
Quite a bit. Now, one thing I will say about this racetrack, of all the road courses that we go to, this racetrack has the least amount of tire degradation. So that definitely creates for a very interesting strategy because it ends up kind of becoming a fuel mileage race. As Alfred, I do not believe... Well, we only had those 4 cars who came down, so it's kind of hard to tell. A little ways behind San Mateo and these guys. Of course, Webb and Monaco and San Mateo were all on the top 10, and Alfred was outside the top 20. But we'll see what advantage they get in clean air. I think that's also a big thing. Racetrack such as this with this car. This is, I mean, I know it's the next-gen car here. It's not the real-life next-gen, and clean air isn't as bad here in the game as it it is in real life. And now we're going to get some more splits. Travis Crampton going to stay out another lap, and all these guys will still have to make a second stop. It is definitely a 2-stop race for these drivers. Duncan Ward is down the pit lane, and he's still going to lead that lap as well in an attempt to get the most laps led, and we're probably going to see a lot of these guys just go 2 tires only on their first stop right here. And that will be the case for Duncan Ward there in the 23 machine. Get those pit stops done and over with as quick as possible, and make sure you get enough fuel in to make it to the end of the race. But now, going to kind of merge in with some of these guys who are in the back of the field, and now Duncan Ward's going to be in dirty air, and we'll see how that ends up affecting his pace as everything cycles through. You got Kirsten Bell right on the back bumper there of Zayden Davison. That will provisionally be for the second position. And Bell going to overshoot it again in the turn 2. Ryan Webb able to stay ahead of Fitzwater. Fitzwater actually jumped Eric Monaco. Fitzwater having a good day in that 99 machine. But Duncan Ward's got a pretty significant lead on all those guys he came in with. And we'll have to see how this 23 ends up faring as the rest of this race plays out.
I think being in traffic for Duncan will help him as well here. It'll give him a little bit of separation between the 00 and the 93. Just, give himself a little bit of room before these two pit. I believe Alex Vitali is the leader right now.
Currently,
61 car. Yeah. So if he stays out another lap, well, I guess he doesn't even need to stay out. I think he'll just leave next time by the line. But is it an Andrews Racing 1-2 right now?
At the moment, it is.
That is
Alex Vitali and Christian Master. And hey,
that is a stat line.
That's something.
Probably the only time, maybe the only time it's ever happened here in the Wawa Cup Series at this given moment. Credit to Sam Vitali, though, this season, and I know he didn't make the chase, but he had a very good regular season and was very consistent. It still is very consistent, but just didn't quite have it there at Atlanta to be able to make it in the chase, which is a shame for him. And the rest of the guys, and Crampton also stayed out. Nichols, Charette, Chris Reynolds there, Justin Zidell, and then Bernardo Alvera, Nathan Smith. And then here's Duncan Ward, who will take the race lead. Some Meadow and Dorn will come down, and that's going to cycle everything through for the first cycle of pit stops. Of course, everybody will still have to come back down again to be able to make it to the end of this race. But next time by, we're going to be halfway through this Culver's 400K. A very quick race here at Road America. It's a very fast road course. Even though this is the longest course on the schedule, our lap times here are actually, if I'm not mistaken, that is the second shortest lap time that we have in terms of time. Only Watkins Glen is faster on the time in terms of the road courses that we have on the schedule. So this thing's going to be going by really quick. Zayden Davis in there, about 4 seconds behind his teammate of Duncan Ward. So Duncan Ward is in a very good position, but we have seen time and time again, especially at this racetrack, a dominating driver have an issue, go off the racetrack, especially at the carousel. This race is not over until the checkered flag is waving above the winner's head. And we'll have to see if Duncan Ward can, in fact, run a perfect race from here on out. That pit stat strategy will also come into effect, and again, all these guys are right on each other as well, so they're all battling for position. could see some undercuts possibly happen and maybe get that clean air for some of these guys. Be able to catch up to that 23 machine. And a bad day gone worse for Darian Arnsdorf. He is still on the pit lane right there. I do not see anything. That has not happened in recent times. And he just went off. He just went off. He was shown 21st lap time last time around. Tough break for Arnsdorf, who had a third place start to this race, and it does not look like he is going to finish here today at Road America.
That third place start is about the best thing that's happened to him.
Yeah, something that's going to be interesting to watch. All those, it was the first 4 cars that came down pit road. I believe it was the 2 Racing Motorsports cars, followed by San Medeo and Alford. They pit on lap 5 coming up the hill to 6. They should be good, but those guys are definitely going to be on the edge of potentially not making it. I think they'll make it. But it's just something to keep in mind as far as where this math could fall out from, especially depending where they pit again. Something that's going to be interesting to watch. All those guys who just pit, 7 coming to 8 coming up the hill there. I don't know who the leader. I think actually the leader of that group is Travis Crampton. I'm not saying they can, but they definitely have the option if somebody wants to roll the dice here and try and stretch it all the way to the finish. Those guys have the fuel. Those guys could potentially do it here. So just something to keep an eye on here as Daniel Paulus Jr. throws it down the inside of Jack Haas. Not going to get the overtake done there.
Which we just saw. And, I got to give a lot of credit to Isaac Nichols and what he's been able to do in this race. He did not have a good starting position. He was second to last of all the chase drivers. Now he's top 15. And it's like I was saying, that cycle of pit stops, a very good opportunity for a lot of these chasers who are back in there to move up. Pauls is up there, and even now Ladovic's in the top 20 in the 51 machine. She just got around Carson Miller, and these guys are scrambling around each other right here. Blaine Keys, last week's winner, 30-time winner on the channel, by the way. Only 3 drivers can say that. Fitzwater, San Medeo, and of course the great Blaine Keys, who has had a lot of those wins come in the last 3 years. Not so many in the Cup Series this year, but he did finally get that one at Chicagoland. And these guys at Pacific Racing, I think they're going to show up a couple more times throughout the year. We'll see how the rest of the season goes for them. A 5-second lead there for Duncan Ward as it's a Hornet's Nest again back in here. Logan Williams trying to hold on to a decent position. A lot of those drivers he's battling with in the chase are ahead of him right now, but he's not losing too much ground. And even though this is his home racetrack, the road courses have not necessarily been a strong suit for Logan in the Wawa Cup Series. Andrew Miller's kind of struggled again in that 86 being 26 for him right now. And then, of course, Nathan Smith. I believe he went off earlier on, 31st right now. And, I know we're just 2 races in, but it's not looking good for Nathan Smith and his attempt to win a Wawa Cup Series championship. It's 7 laps to go here at Road America. Now, to your point there, Matt, those drivers, Travis Crampton, Isaac Nichols, who came in the latest, they're actually going to, this is what they're going to do. They are going to undercut now. Or at least Crampton's going to undercut now. Make sure that's not an issue. That is a strategic move out of Crampton to run a long stint at the end. This could get really interesting as this race goes along. So we'll see what Crampton ends up falling out in line once this is all said and done. But they're not going to be able to make it to the end on 9 laps. They had 7 laps, which I think is stretching it to begin with. So it's going to be 2 stops for everybody, but you can make it from here. From this point, 7 laps to go, you can make it. And he went 7 laps that first run, but they're still looking at that left. There's something wrong on that 98 machine. Not entirely sure. Yep, they did repair damage on that car. So he had to come in to repair damage, and he may have gone off somewhere, may have had contact with somebody that caused enough damage. Now, at this point, he should be able to make it to the end, but he's going to lose a lot of time from that, and that you can't have things like that happen in these races in the chase. So Duncan Ward still leading, and by a large margin now in that 23 machine. 6.5 seconds on Zayden Davidson, and Keir Sabell's not been able to get around this 00. 23 was able to drive right by the 00 and then pulled away. So Duncan Ward in a great position to get his 4th win of the season. Brian Webb there in 4th. Alex Samantali is 5th. Great run for Samantali. As a matter of fact, Samantali is going for his first top 5 of the season. He's had a very consistent season. He's yet to finish top 5 all year. Not many drivers can say that at this point, especially someone as consistent as Sam Vitale. Eric Monaco trying to make better of what happened last week at Chicagoland, get another top 10 finish this season. Of course, he won the Daytona 500 earlier in the year, and that's his only top 5 of the season, but he does have another top 10. He's had a lot of great runs as of late in that 45 machine. Zachary Fitzwater still top 10. For Fitzwater's case, he's going for his first top 10 of the season. Christian Master is also in the top 10, and I think Master's also going for his first top 10 of the season. And then you got Bartow right there, and then Laura Chung holding on to this top 10 run at the moment. She's going to gain some points there on Paulson Charette, but not on Duncan Ward. And Duncan, at this rate, is going to pull away in this title by quite a bit, but this race is far from over. Still 6 laps left to go, so I have another cycle of pit stops, and anything can happen here in this Culver's 400K as we close down to the end of this race here at Road America.
I think the interesting thing I want to point out, the 61 Sam Vitale, he did the overcut. He's up in 5th. He actually gained positions from doing that. He's slotted himself between the 43 and the 45. He gained quite a bit. So I think the overcut may be the way to go here. If you're looking at trying to gain track position, you might, maybe staying out longer might be the way you go here. I think that might be something to look at.
We'll see if that ends up being the case for any of these guys here. I think we're going to see some of these guys come down for their second stop here in just a moment. Could get very interesting once we get down to that. How about Avery Alford? Another great run for Alford, who was, of all the chase drivers, the lowest qualifier. He is now in the 18th position. Jack Haas slipping back in the 39. Alford's actually 17th right now, as Jack has fallen back to 18th. Logan Williams just inside the top 20, battling there with Blinkies. A lot of really good drivers kind of just in this middle part from 10th to 20th in the field. Or Chung there in the 20 machines, falling outside the top 10 now, as Nicholas Samadillo has taken that spot away. Philip Torrey's ahead of these guys, and both the Airshield cars in the top 10 right now. How about Philip Torrey's in that 52 machine? Great run for him here. Great run for Bartow, considering the season that they have had. And here we go. And everybody's down this time, as Arnsdorf's finally getting back out on the racetrack. He's multiple laps down at this point. So, will anybody stay out? That's the big question, or is everyone coming down this time? Looks like everybody's coming down this time. Will anybody try to... Bryce Egan's going to try it.
Oh?
I don't think it's going to mean much that far back in the field, but everybody coming down on this lap.
9 car might have been forced out. He might have been side by side.
He did not... He didn't look like, the 9 of Egan didn't look like he was planning to skip pit road there. The 61 is The 61 is Sam Vitale, I think, just gassed it up and went. What in the world?
Davison just tapped the wall off the exit of the pit lane. Oh, that's a shame for the 00, and the uncharted guys struggling here today. And Sam Vitale has just jumped to second in the 61 machine, or will jump to second once this is all said and done. Kirstenbell still can't get around the 00, even though he tapped that inside wall exiting the pit lane. We've seen that happen before. The driver that gets that first pit stall, sometimes they tend to have a bit of an issue. But Duncan Ward, I mean, there's just no getting to this guy. He's like SVG on the Chicago street course today. But still, 4 laps to go, over 4 laps to go here at Road America. And a lot can happen between now and the finish of this race. Brian Webb looking to make a move on Kirsten Bell. That will be for 4th once this is all cycled through. And a couple of swaps for position. How about Isaac Nichols? I think Nichols might be knocking on the door of the top 10. Ludovic Charette also moving her way through the field as well, up to around the 13th, 14th position. Paula slipped back a little bit there on that cycle. Not a good run there for Williams. He's lost a little bit of ground there. Crampton, who had already made his stop, has found himself quite a ways back in the field, and he's going to fall back in the points after all that is done. Bryce Egan provisionally the race leader at the moment. To your point, I think he tried to come down the pit lane and couldn't, but that may end up working out in his favor just a little bit. We'll have to see how fast the stop's going to be, but Duncan Ward clear out and ahead in this 23 machine.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna do anything for Egan unless he was deciding he wanted to roll the dice. But I would be shocked if he's not, or if he's coming down pit road. That makes sense. So we'll see if that, maybe a little blessing in disguise, and he can gain a few positions that he wouldn't have. But yeah, I mean, 23 is kind of unchallenged here today since he got by the 00. I mean, it is tricky to overtake here without some sort of strategic game. You know, there's a few good passing zones in Sector 1, but it's definitely a strategic game racetrack. 6 Isaac Nichols, to his credit, PDE, they've played the strategy really well here today for him. Tanner Parton's played the strategy pretty solid as well in the 97. 51 Charette, 54 Paulus. They've had at least, I mean, it's not terrible. It's obviously not going to be great with Ward leading, but it's not a terrible situation as long as you finish the race here clean. You know, you're going to head back to the tracks that you kind of expect the 54 and the 51 to really flex on. We know the 51's good here, but so it'll definitely be. I thought Jack was going to go 3 wide for a second there.
There's still a lot of great racing in the mid-pack. Yeah, it's hard to make a pass if the driver you're trying to pass is 8 seconds ahead of you, and that's what Duncan Ward has done. And Duncan has had the advantage of his uncharted teammate holding up second. And just to your point, Echo, you made this point about Montreal. It's the same thing that happened with Ludovic Schreidt and Darian Arnsdorf. And Arnsdorf held everyone up behind him. You know, not to say that Arnsdorf wasn't quick in Montreal or Davidson isn't quick, but they don't have as many ratings points in the drivers as these drivers they're racing with, and that's going to hold them up just a little bit. Their cars are just as good, but I think that goes a long way. And Davidson, you know, to his credit, after hitting that pit road wall there, he is still going for a top 5. I would expect LJ Semedo to come down the pit lane right here, and then that should complete the cycle, and everyone's good to go to the end of this race. So Semedo's still staying out there in that 71 machine. You know, to your point, Matt, he might be trying to go for some strategy here in that 71 and trying to stretch it all the way. Only 3 laps left to go here at Road America. Duncan Ward is out ahead by 6.5 seconds. Semedo actually gained... Actually, I take that back. He did not gain. Bryce Egan did lead that lap, so... We'll see. We'll see if Sam Mattelli's stats have been. Yeah, he's not losing time to Duncan Ward. Like I said, not much tire degradation on this racetrack, so it's a matter of fuel and having enough of it. Philip Torrey is the last driver in the top 10 right now. They're in 10th. You got Fitzwater, Isaac Nichols with a great run in this race, and that is a huge rebound for Nichols. And you know, Nichols is a guy who is up there. Only 16 points off of Paulus. He's going to lose some ground to Duncan Ward, but, you know, who else you got up here? You got Kirsten Bell. That's the only other chase driver in the top 10 right now. His Lord Chung's fallen back to 14th. Avery Alfred's up to 15th. Great run for Alfred. Then it's Jack. Then it's Starrett and Paulus going after it right here. Oh boy, that's a lot of great racing back here. And then you got both of Caleb's guys, Carson Miller, Nicholas Samedeo here. They're battling. Samedeo had a good run, but he's kind of falling off a little bit. And Chris Reynolds in the top 20 right now in the hot seat. Logan Williams, that's a tough one for Logan. Had such a great run at Chicagoland. Now down to the 27th in the 95 machine. Nathan Smith has gone up to 28th. Andrew Miller in 29th. And then Crampton back there in 33rd. So only 2 chasers in the top 10 here today. And it's going to give a huge advantage to Duncan Ward, but still a long ways left to go in this chase. Coming to 2 laps to go here in the Culver's 400K. And this is the home team. Team Williams looking to get it done here at Road America. And Duncan Ward has been their driver this season, looking to get his 4th win of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series.
Duncan's been very, very strong this year, all season long, and I guess if there was any driver that could break the GRT stronghold on these road courses, it would be Duncan Ward. He's been the one that's broken their stronghold on pretty much everything else this year, too, so yeah, the 71's in now. But great drive by Duncan today, great drive for just the whole Team Williams. They've done a great job rebounding this year, and I think they've got something to prove, as we got Brian Webb making a move on Bell for the 4th position.
Brian Webb's on an excellent race here today. Both the Racing Motorsports cars here have. Both Brian Webb and Eric Monaco. I know Kochmer has not had a good season at 41. He's kind of struggled a little bit. Another battle here between teammates, and well, I say teammates. You know, not legally teammates, but I know you keep saying it, Matt. Both under the GRT banner. Paulus and Charette going after it. And, you know, I know this may not seem significant at this given moment, but we're still looking at Paulus and Charette being the 2 favorites for this title. I think Duncan Ward's going to be a big part of that as well, but I think on the speedways and couple of short tracks we got coming up. I think these guys are going to have a bit of an advantage on the 23. We'll see if that ends up being the case. But every point matters. I mean, this championship was won by 2 points a couple of years ago. Only one. It was won by single-digit points last year as well between Charette and Keys. So Paulus wants to be able to beat that 51, get as many points as he can on Charette, keep her below Paulus in the points, but they're all going to be behind Duncan Ward once this is all said and done. This is just an absolute clinic that Duncan Ward and Team Williams as a whole has put on this weekend, and it all started in qualifying, and that 23 was just fast from the get-go, looking at his 4th win of the season. Great run for Alex Samantali. He's hoping that Duncan Ward goes off in the carousel and he gets that win. We'll see if that ends up being the case. There are a lot of chase drivers that want to see that happen, and I know Duncan Ward wants to clear to the race lead and get this race victory. 11th for Isaac Nichols. Great run for him. You know, different type of race. Maybe not thrilling every single lap, but it is going to play a huge factor in this championship. And we got 1 lap to go here in the Culver's 400K for Duncan Ward and Team Williams on their home racetrack.
No, I mean, it's definitely been a strong performance for this 23 team. I mean, I will still die on the hill that it is currently no disrespect to anybody else, but until proven otherwise, I mean, it is a 3-horse race for the championship. This is a very strong performance by the 23 award. It is a good. I will say to Kirsten Bell's credit, I mean, not having a crappy qualifying run and being able to run up here all day is very big. Granted, all these guys, this whole thing could be blown up by Daytona. So, I mean, who knows how this could all play out in the end. But, no, I mean, this is a championship caliber performance from the 23 and the 23 team, and he's definitely earned it here.
And Duncan has been very good throughout the season, and there have been a couple of patches of inconsistency here and there. But when he got that win at Gateway, beat Daniel Paulus Jr. there, that turned a lot of heads, and I think it really put this team on the map as, yeah, we're here, we can win this championship. Then they got the win at Pocono, and here they are looking to dominate this race here at Road America, get the race victory, take the points lead, going into Dover next week. Dover is going to be a bit of a wild card race, and I mean, Matt, I don't want to mention that one from last year again, but that was good for Kirsten Bell last year at Dover, and we'll see if something like that
I thought
happening
it was fine.
again.
I thought that finish was all right, personally.
I thought it was a fun race, too. You know, I love my home racetrack there at Dover. Well, hey, Duncan Ward's going to love this race because one more corner to go. He is your race winner here in the Culver's 400K. And his 4th win of the season and the home race for Andrew Williams and Team Williams. And what a dominating performance it was. They're going to take the points lead. And this championship's going to get really interesting now, as it has been all season. Duncan Ward wins the Culver's 400K here at Road America. And then about 10 seconds behind him, Alex Savintali will finish 2nd. Zayden Davidson will hold on to 3rd. Kirsten Bell, Brian Webb, Eric Monaco. How about Christian Master getting his first top 10 of the season? Trey Bartow, Philip Torres, and Zachary Fitzwater getting his first top 10 of the season as well. Great runs for Isaac Nichols, Laura Chung, Avery Alford, Jack Haas. Paulus will finish ahead of Charette there in 16th and 17th respectively. And then our next chaser, Logan Williams, will finish in 23rd. Andrew Miller will finish 26th. Nathan Smith will finish 30th. Not a good run for Travis Crampton. Repairing that damage was costly for him. 35th for Crampton. That was not the way it was going to go if that did not happen. A 9-second win for Duncan Ward here at Road America. And there was just no catching him today. He was clearly the fastest car and the fastest driver on the racetrack here. Here in Wisconsin for Team Williams. That was fun.
Can't fault
that was
that
a fun
one.
race, especially in the mid-pack. But Duncan Ward absolutely had the advantage. And Echo, I know you're happy about what Kirsten Bell did, but how do you think this is going to set up the rest of the chase? Knowing what we saw here today, seeing a lot of those other chase drivers struggle in this race here today. But Duncan Ward did not struggle at all. Do you think he might be the championship favorite at this point?
It's hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of different track types here in the remainder of the chase, so it's hard to say who's really the favorite and who's not. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 drivers that I think have a decent shot at contending for the championship by the end of it. But I think you just gotta be consistent. You gotta keep the cars up where they are.
And we'll have to see how consistent Duncan Ward is, and we keep focusing on Paulus and Charette in this championship, Matt, but this race may end up being a very pivotal part to which one of those has the advantage later on in the season. They were battling quite a bit back in there. I know the expectation is for them to rebound at Dover and a lot of these oval tracks that we got coming up, but not necessarily the run that you wanted out of those guys, but what do you take from it here at Road America, and how do a lot of these chase drivers who struggled in the back of the field rebound and put themselves back in championship contention as they move on throughout the chase?
Well, I mean, to the 23's credit, obviously I've drove the horn for the 51, 54, but I mean, I've been saying for 6 weeks or so now, like, he's the only one who seems like he consistently, week in, week out, has the pace to go at or beat him. And to his credit, he did here today. Obviously, it's a stranger circumstance because it's a road course. But it'll be an interesting next couple of races. I mean, Dover, hopefully we don't see guys magically run out on lap 99 again. Indianapolis is always fun. Racing motorsports, hello. And then Iowa, Watkins Glen, that'll be our home race. And I'll be at that race in real life that weekend, so that'll be fun. So it will be an interesting way to the end. I will point to Daytona. I mean, we know anything. If there's a racetrack that could blow up everything, it could be Daytona. But hats off to the 23 team. He put in a very good performance here today.
And one thing to note about Daytona is that it's not the penultimate race of the year either. So you had Daytona, but then you had Homestead right after that to set up the finale at Darlington. So Daytona, while it's still significant, may not necessarily kind of snap everything out of line going into the finale race like it did last year, or almost did last year with Ludovic Charette. So we'll see. We'll see how that race and see how the points look once we get to that point. You guys are going to see how the points look after this race. Duncan Ward's going to be the points leader. We'll see how the rest of it shakes out going into Dover next week. Nemours Children's Health 400 from the Dover Motor Speedway, and that's the race I'll be at, of course. My one and only Cup race I'm going to this year. I was at the Bristol Cup race last year, and that was the second one, and that was enough Cup racing for me in 2024. So I figured only one race this year for the Cup Series, and we'll go on to our home track in Dover. Going to be a lot of fun for the 25th race of the season next Saturday at noon Eastern Time right here on AG, the channel. And who knows how that one's going to play out. I think it's going to be a way more competitive race than what we saw here today at Road America. And because it's going to shake up again in those points. No doubt about it. A calm race here at Road America. Great to have a calm race every once in a while here in the Wawa Cup Series, but a dominating performance out of Duncan Ward. His 4th win of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series, and he might be the championship favorite at this point, but still got 8 races left to go to determine that. Thank you guys so much for watching here from Road America. Huge thanks to Matt Tuck and Echo Evans-Ross for joining the call here today, and we'll see you guys next week from the Dover Motor Speedway and the Nemours Children's Health 400, the 25th race of the season. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Congratulations to Duncan Ward, and I will see you guys later.